Level 1, the beginner. You are 20 years old, studying business at a state school you almost did not get into. Your father drives a delivery truck. Your mother does billing for a dental office. Neither has ever owned a share of stock. Your grandfather left you one thing when he died last year, an old solar calculator with a cracked corner that still works if you tilt it toward the light. You keep it on your desk out of habit more than need. You sit in the library at 11 p.m. watching a man trade from a boat, shirtless, laughing, for $1,000 before lunch. You have a laptop with a cracked hinge and $300 saved from a summer job. You open a brokerage app. You link your student checking account. Your hands are cold in a warm room. You buy a stock you saw trending online. You do not know what the company makes. The price moves up 11 cents, down 30, up $2. You reach for the calculator without thinking and punch in the numbers by hand, even though the app already did the math. Something about seeing it twice makes it feel real. By midnight, you are up $40. You feel like you found a door nobody else noticed. You cannot sleep. You open the laptop again at 3 a.m. just to look. By morning, the $40 is gone, and so is something else you cannot name yet. You add another $100 from your meal plan refund. You call it research. What you are actually learning is the feeling, and the feeling is why you keep coming back. You lose $200 in one afternoon on a trade you were sure about. You sit very still, the calculator warm in your palm from being held too long. You tell no one. You tell yourself you will make it back tomorrow. You almost always believe that sentence. Level 2, the grinder. Something in you finally breaks in a useful direction. You stop chasing whatever is trending and start writing trades down instead. Entry, exit, reason, checking every number twice on the old calculator before you trust the screen. A plain spreadsheet, red and green cells telling you the truth you did not want. You take profits too early and hold losses far too long. The market was never the enemy. You were. You tape a note to your monitor. Never risk more than 1%. Never trade angry. You break both rules within the week and keep the note up anyway. You stock shelves part-time to fund the account without touching your parents' money. $50 becomes $300, then $1,100, one boring trade at a time. Friends go out on weekends. You stay in with a chart that does not care if you show up. You graduate with a degree nobody at home fully understands and an account worth $12,000, built with your own bad decisions slowly corrected. Not enough to live on. Enough to prove something. You turn down a salaried analyst job with a desk and your name on it. Your mother cries a little at dinner. You are 23, and you have just chosen the hardest, loneliest version of your life on purpose. The calculator goes in your bag on the way out the door. Level 3, the funded trader. $12,000 cannot pay real bills. A firm online will hand you $100,000 in buying power if you prove yourself first. Hit the target, respect the loss limits, or the account resets to zero and you pay the fee again. You fail in 4 days, doubling your size after 2 losses to win it back, blowing the daily limit before lunch. You fail again, slower this time. On the 3rd attempt, something in you goes quiet in a useful way. You stop trying to get rich in a week and start trying to follow your own rules for 1 full month. You pass on a Tuesday morning. You trade from a card table with 2 second-hand monitors, the calculator sitting beside them like a small, stubborn witness. Some months you clear $4,000. Some months, nothing. 1 month you lose money you cannot afford and sit on the floor of your apartment, unmoving, for an hour, the calculator still in your hand from checking a number you already knew was wrong. You meet a woman named Priya at a friend's party. She asks what you do. You say you trade for a living. She laughs at first, thinking it is a joke, and then realizes it is not, and looks at you a little differently after that. She notices the calculator on your desk during your first real date and asks about it. You tell her about your grandfather instead of the market for the first time in months, and it is the first conversation in a long time that does not end with you checking your phone. You are 25 and you have built something that looks like freedom from outside and feels, some nights, like a locked room with a very good view. Level 4, the professional. 2 years blur into green days and red days that stop feeling different. You hold 3 funded accounts across 3 firms now, nearly $500,000 in trading capital that is not technically yours but behaves like it is. You wake at 6, build your watch list, trade the open, sit on your hands through the boring middle, trade the close, then argue with yourself out loud about every decision you made. There are no real weekends because the market always returns Monday whether you rested or not. Your back starts aching at 27, which surprises you. You marry Priya in a small ceremony your father half pays for. She learns to read your face after the closing bell before you say a word. On green days you are warm. On red days you disappear a little, even sitting right beside her. The calculator lives on the kitchen counter now, next to the mail, because Priya says it should be somewhere that is not just about work. You do not fully understand what she means by that until much later. Level 5, the desk trader. A man named Aaron runs a real trading floor and offers you a seat, real firm capital, millions if you earn the right to touch it. You and Priya move for it. Your first morning humbles you completely. 20 traders in a long row of noise and shouted numbers. A quiet senior trader named Deshaun watches you lose money on a mistake he would never make. He tells you to trade smaller until you stop being an amateur about it. You listen. You shrink your size until the losses stop keeping you up at night, and slowly the numbers start climbing again on their own. You learn more in 3 months than in 3 years alone. You watch the best traders handle a losing morning without chasing it, closing the laptop, returning the next day clean, no residue from the day before showing anywhere on their face. Calm is not a personality trait, it is a skill, and you start building it the same patient way you once built the spreadsheet. You keep the calculator in your desk drawer at the firm, a habit the younger traders tease you about until they stop noticing it at all. By your second year, you are one of the most consistent traders on the floor. Priya tells you quietly, over dinner, that she is pregnant. You look at your screen and for the first time in your life, the numbers feel small. Level 6, the senior trader. Your daughter is born in late autumn. You return to the desk 3 days later because the market never once pauses for anyone's family. Something shifts permanently. You take fewer wild swings and become steadier than you have ever been. The firm gives you a larger book and juniors of your own, hungry and certain they already understand everything, the exact way you once were. You teach them to size down, that their own mind is the real opponent. You watch one break the same rule you once broke and blow out half his account in an afternoon. You sit with him the way Deshaun once sat with you. You buy a house in a quiet suburb. You miss your daughter's first real steps because you are watching the closing bell. Priya films it and sends it to you. You watch it alone afterward. The calculator in your desk drawer at home now too, untouched for weeks at a time. You promise yourself you will leave earlier tomorrow. Tomorrow the market opens at the exact same time it always does. Level 7, the fund manager. After more than a decade, you want something carrying your own name instead of someone else's letterhead. You leave the desk and start your own fund. Former colleagues and a family office write checks, the largest one feeling less like an achievement and more like a weight on your chest. $12 million total, a rounding error to the wider world of funds. A mountain to you. A bad week no longer costs you a bonus. It costs a phone call explaining to a retired teacher why her savings shrank. You hire 2 analysts and a junior trader and spend your mornings trading and your afternoons writing investor letters, learning that running a fund is mostly managing other people's fear rather than reading a chart. You return 18% one good year and money floods in faster than you can responsibly place it, and for a few months it feels like every decision you have ever made was leading exactly here. Your daughter, now 10, asks you one evening what the old calculator on your office shelf is for, since you clearly never use it anymore. You do not have a good answer. You promise yourself every year more dinners at home. You break that promise every year because the market wants what it wants and usually gets it. Level 8, the portfolio manager. Your fund survives the event that quietly kills most funds. A real crash. Panic spreading through every phone line you own. You do not vanish because you remembered the oldest lesson from that library at midnight. Protect the account before you try to grow it again. You hedged carefully and lose far less than the market does. New investors arrive in a wave and the fund nearly triples. You manage several $100 million now, thinking in weeks and months instead of minutes. Your greatest enemy becomes your own success. Every new dollar another mouth expecting a return you cannot always deliver. Your hair grays at the edges. Your doctor mentions your blood pressure more than once. Priya worries in a way she has stopped hiding. Your daughter is 16 and barely looks up when you walk in. Standing in your own kitchen one night, you notice the calculator is gone from its usual shelf. You do not ask where. Some part of you already suspects your daughter took it into her own room months ago, and you are not sure how to feel about that. Level 9, the name. Your name means something now in rooms you never expected to enter. You run a fund worth over $2 billion. The boy who turned $300 into 40 in a library is a stranger to you now. Money has stopped feeling real. You think in basis points and exposure instead of dollars. A bad morning costs more than your father earned across his entire working life, and you barely flinch anymore. You lose 90 million on a single position one ordinary Tuesday, on a trade you were certain of. You do not flinch in the meeting. You flinch later, alone, in a bathroom where no one can see your face. Young traders look at you the way you once looked at the man on the boat. You try to warn them it costs more than they think. Almost none of them listen. Your daughter is away at college now. She calls her mother every week. When she calls you, it is usually short and usually about something small, and you have learned to be grateful even for that. Level 10, the legend. You are 61 years old, having stared at screens for nearly 4 decades. You step back from the daily fight, though a man like you never fully leaves it behind. You hand the active trading to younger managers and become a chairman, a name people study the way you once studied charts at midnight. The screens were never really about the money. They were about being fully alive on the edge of a decision, and that feeling is harder to find from a chairman's chair. Priya stayed through all of it, more patient than you ever deserved. Your daughter visits one weekend with a small box she says she has been meaning to give back for years. Inside is the old calculator, the corner still cracked, a note taped to the back in her handwriting from when she was 17, one line, asking if you remembered what it was for. You do remember. You just forgot to say it out loud for about 30 years. You sit with it on your lap for a long time after she leaves. When you hold your grandson for the first time the following spring, you hand him the calculator instead of a toy, and he chews on the corner the way you once tilted it toward the light. You do not have a clean answer for why you survived when so many traders around you did not. You built something that will outlast you, and missed 100 ordinary Tuesdays doing it, and no amount of capital ever bought a single one of them back. But the calculator did. Somewhere right now, a 20-year-old sits in a library at 11 p.m., watching a man on a boat who has never once shown anyone his losses. Their hands are cold in a warm room. They have $300, a cracked laptop, and something small from someone who came before them sitting nearby, waiting to matter more than it does yet. They have no idea what any of this will actually cost them. They will tell themselves it is only research. They will learn. They always do. The cycle continues.